Hey everyone, Jared here with Tile Liquidators Floor and Design, and we are going to go over a subject that is not talked about too much, but we want to delve right into it. And if you're here watching this, you are worried about sound in your floors, specifically in floating floors. We're talking about laminate, we're talking about vinyl, we're talking about sound transmission. Questions I get asked all the time: Jared, how do we make it more quiet? We have an upstairs floor. We're going to go over those things, but first we want to make sure that we're talking about what type of sound we need, right? So there's going to be two different types of sound. There's going to be the first sound, which is going to be what we hear out in the world, the clicking of the floor, and what we hear in the home itself. And then the second is going to be what type of sound we hear from when the floor is above. So if we're talking about a second story floor, what type of sound are we going to hear from below? So those are two very different sound ratings. The first we're going to discuss is going to be just like out in the air, right? So nothing above us, just in our home. A vinyl floor and a laminate floor, it is a hard surface, very similar to that of, say, a porcelain tile. If you were to have your entire flooring done in a laminate or a vinyl or a porcelain or ceramic tile, and you have an empty space, so it's a brand new home, you're moving in, there's no furniture, there's no pillows on the couches, there's nothing covering the windows, we don't have anything there, it's gonna be an echoey space because we have all of these hard surfaces where sound transmission is just bouncing off everywhere and there's nothing to stop it. So how do we mitigate that? Well, first of all, you're never gonna live in an empty home. So furniture, specifically cloth in the furniture, is actually going to take on some of that sound. So as you start filling your home with your furniture pieces, your rugs, these are going to be all things that can help with sound transmission. And even on your windows, if you were to put coverings on your windows that are cloth, that is also going to help absorb sound. So once again, like, don't walk into a home that's completely empty and say, wow, it's echoey in here, this floor is very loud, because that's absolutely going to be the case. But like I said, you're never going to live your life in that fashion. So the sound that is going to come from just from the floor, it is what it is. Once you move in, bring all your stuff in, it's going to help calm that down. Now, if we do want to help with sound a little bit, you can buy an underlayment that goes underneath your flooring. Now, typically your laminate is going to need an underlayment anyways, and your vinyl is going to have an optional underlayment. Now, this is going to help with sound underfoot, so when you're walking on it, it's going to help reduce that sound a little bit. But once again, that's for the walking noise. That is not for us projecting our voices out. That is not for music. Like, all those things will have to be calmed down by the furniture in your floor. Now, if we're talking about the second story of a home, or you're in a condominium and you have people above you or below you, and we want to reduce that sound for that floor, that is something completely different. In that case, we are definitely going to want to look at upgraded underlayments. You see, the padding that comes with your laminate or the padding that comes with your vinyl, it's going to be very thin. It's going to have some sound reduction, but not a ton. So you're definitely going to want to look into some options. So with your vinyl options, you're probably going to be looking at some foam padding. We're going to have to stay within a certain thickness because we don't want to have too much cushion with our thinner floors. So with that deflection in the floor, along with extra padding, too much padding, then we're going to start to have way too much give on our locking mechanism. So for the vinyl, you're going to want to get a thinner membrane. So once again, it's not going to completely erase all the sound, but it's going to help with it. And with our laminates, generally, we can go a little bit thicker on the padding. You can look for something maybe even like a cork underlayment or a cork and rubber underlayment. That is something that will help keep stability of the floor. It's going to reduce sound by quite a bit, actually. So once again, upstairs, thicker underlayments for our products, as thick as the product will allow. There should be data sheets attached to every floor you ever look at, and it'll tell you how thick of a underlayment you can use. You can also reach out to your manufacturer. You can reach out to the person you're purchasing the product from, and that'll definitely be something that's going to help you, guide you, make sure that we are reducing sound as much as we can. All of these floors are going to have sound transmission. If you want the quietest floor around, get carpet. That's going to be the quietest floor, just being honest with you. But if we want added durability, extra strength on our floors, there's going to be a trade-off. It's generally going to be with sound.